In this video, we'll go through 4 cardinal mistakes that new Crowcastle players usually commit when they start playing, and those will make their life unnecessarily harder or slow down their potential progression speed a lot. So, after watching, you will know better to avoid these, so let's get started right away with the first one. The biggest mistake in Crowcastle is trusting the system. The game has an autosave feature, yeah, but blindly trusting it can lead into a lot of headache and misery because it might not always work the way you might think it works. For example, when you are crafting, the game will automatically save right after you have spent your materials for the crafting. This is to prevent people from loading back and crafting again until they get a good item, so it's a safety feature, it makes complete sense. However, it doesn't automatically save the item that you actually got. So, if you immediately after crafting you go and post a screenshot in Discord, for example, about this insanely good new item you just got, there's a good chance that when you return back to the game, the item has just gone poof, disappeared, gone forever, because you didn't save the game after crafting, and there is no recovering that item at that point. I have seen so many players learning this the hard way, and I would absolutely love to never see this happen to anyone again. So, when you get a good item, claim it and do a manual save to prevent this from happening. The same logic is applied for when you, for example, claim a daily reward from the calendar. The game will recognize that yes, a reward has been claimed for the day, but it doesn't automatically save the contents of the reward itself. So if you, again, immediately close the game after claiming a reward, there is a chance that when you come back, you might have lost those sweet crystals you just claimed. So, to avoid this from happening, do a manual save at least whenever you get a good item from any source. Get the item, do a manual save. Whenever you claim any reward from any source, it's safe to do a manual save after that one. Or whenever you are about to close the game for whatever reason, it is safe to do one manual save just in case. Closing the game can be annoying, by the way, since there's no offline progression in this game. So if you're unable to keep the game running 24/7 on your own device, but you would still love to keep on progressing, you can look into setting up a cloud phone for yourself. And thanks to the sponsor of today's video, I have just the right one for you. May I present LDCloud. LDCloud is a cloud phone service that allows you to run the game directly on your PC or your mobile device without actually using the hardware resources of your device. You can run multiple devices on the same account and access them all anytime you want, anywhere you are. And why this is so handy for Crowcastle players such as me or you is that even if you close your phone or you close your PC, your Crowcastle will still be running 24/7 in the cloud. So that means you can keep on using the Crowcastle's built-in autopilot function to keep on completing waves even if you don't have any devices on at all, because the game is actually running in the cloud server instead of your actual physical device. So that means you don't necessarily need a spare phone in order to play the game. You don't have to worry about your phone overheating and exploding overnight when you are keeping it on charger in order to keep the game running. And you don't need to worry about getting insane electricity bills because you're running your PC on all the time, day and night, 24/7. LDCloud offers flexible spending plans tailored for your needs, and I currently have the KVIP package in here connected to the Netherlands server, and I'm running the Android 10 in here. If you want to try it out, check out my link in the description. You can get your first 6 hours trial for as little as 10 cents. And doing so directly helps me as well to be able to keep running this channel. So thank you for doing that for me as well. But let's continue with the worst mistakes. And the second worst mistake a new Crowcastle player does is diversity. What I mean by this is that it's extremely common to see a new player posting a screenshot of their build and the build layout looks like something like this. This one, as cool as this looks, is really bad. And it's mainly bad because there's multiple different elemental damage dealers included in this build. We have ice in here, we have lightning in here, we have poison, fire, even physical in here. And I think we can also assume that witches are meant to be doing damage in this build as well. So, in fact, we have every single element represented in the game in this build itself. And while most of these might actually be good damage dealers in this game, the reason why this layout is bad is because almost every single unit in this game will require to get boosted from the skill tree of their own elemental type in order for them to be effective damage dealers in this game. And to put it simply, in early game, you just simply cannot afford to do that. You barely have enough points to reach and take the skill nodes in one elemental skill tree branch, and you don't have enough to go for 2 2 branches or 3 branches, and certainly not for every single of the 6 skill tree branches in the game. That stuff is best to be left for end game, and if you're a new player starting out, do yourself a favor, even if you don't look some specific pre-made build that you are following, pick a single element and try to figure out what are the damage dealers for that elemental and go and start with those. For example, pick lightning and use the lightning skill tree to boost your lightning unit's damage output. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't have other heroes from other elements in your build. In fact, you probably even should. However, these heroes are usually used to boost others in your build or to deal crowd control, in which case they are not expected to be dealing damage to the enemies, like real meaningful damage. And in that case, they don't necessarily need to be backed by their own elemental skill tree branch. So you can use, for example, a great example is Dorothy, promoted to the poison path. She is a great hero for debuffing the enemies and also applying crowd control when you give her crowd control items, and you don't need to have her dealing any damage. She doesn't need to be leveled. Level 31 Dorothy will keep you going your entire early and mid game. And conveniently, this leads us to our third cardinal mistake: equality. Again, a little bit of context. What I mean by this is that it's common to see people leveling every single unit in their builds exactly equally, exactly the same level. So you can see someone having a build where every single unit is exactly level 500, for example. And this is just bad. But why is this bad? It's because, like we went through just now, some units are meant to be doing damage, they need to be boosted by their skill tree, and while those units, of course, naturally benefit from every single gold you spend on them, every single level you get on them, they will get more powerful, they will get more damage so they can kill more enemies. A hero who is only used for buffing other heroes, for example, will perform exactly the same on level 31, for example, as it would on level 500. So leveling it up from 30 to 500 will be completely wasted gold. And that just means you won't be getting as good value out of your money if you spend it on wrong units. And that just means you will have less gold to spend on units that actually deal damage in your build. So it is important that you figure out who are the damage dealers for your build, who you should be leveling, and it's quite common that a build has between 3 to 5 damage dealers in the build, and the rest are used for crowd control and for buffing. And by the time of recording this video, Town Archers are currently extremely strong units, so if you're in doubt, leveling up Town Archers is never a bad choice. Now, I know what you're thinking. If I just keep on grinding a lot of gold, I can still level up every unit I have equally, and I will have a strong and good build, right? Yikes. And that actually leads us to our fourth cardinal mistake: greed. You can often see people using the game's replay function to keep on replaying the same wave over and over again in order to grind more gold for their accounts, in order to make them stronger. But what they are actually doing is they are wasting their time. While gold is a needed ingredient in this game, it is not the most important one, and it's also kind of a scam anyway. Because the higher your wave level is, the higher in the game you are, the more gold you will be getting. So if you are spending an hour now grinding up a lot of gold, in near future you might be able to get that same amount of gold in 10 minutes, or in 5 minutes, or even in 1 minute. So the higher wave you are, the more gold you will be getting. The most important things you really want to focus on in this game are items and skill points. And for both of those, you need to be on a higher wave level to be able to actually grind them and get more skill points as well. And if you are constantly replaying the same wave over and over again, you are not making any progress, you are not getting any further in the waves. How do you feel about these mistakes? And if you have already been playing for a while, how many of these did you commit when you started out? Don't worry, we have all been there. Are there any other common rookie mistakes you think new players do when they start playing? I would love to hear, so feel free to share them in the comment section with me. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.